Alrighty, let's take a look at this question. So we have an expression that we need to simplify. And when you hear the word simplify, that basically means we're going to follow BEDMAS. So we look at within the brackets first to see if we can simplify anything in there. And when you have powers like what we have, a squared c to the 3, the rule is in order to multiply powers, and they're multiplied because they're next to each other, we have to have the same base, and they don't. One's a, one's c, so there'll be no multiplying within the brackets going on. So then we're on to the e, exponents, and we have a couple outside exponents, the 2 and the 3. Now, the 2 is right next to this bracket, which means only within those brackets does that 2 apply to those things. The negative 2a in front is not in those brackets, so the 2 does not apply to that. And same thing on the bottom. That 3 exponent would only apply to what's in the brackets. Of course, that's the only thing on the bottom, so not a problem. Okay, so here we go. We have negative 2a goes along for the ride. And then we'll keep the brackets just because we're about to have a number. Oh, we have a negative sign in front of there. Let's make that actually negative 1 so that we remember to apply the exponent to it as well. So we have negative 1 and it's being squared. Now we do have to have brackets around the negative and the 1 so that the square applies to both. Okay, and then when you have an exponent of an exponent like we are here, the exponents get multiplied, so 2 times 2, the new exponent on a would be a 4, and 3 times 2, the new exponent on c would be 6. All right, all over top of. Now we have the same thing happening in the denominator, exponent of an exponent, so we multiply our exponents, so we have a to the 4 times 3, which is 12, c to the 1 times 3, which is 3. All right, well, let's see what we can simplify now. Let's turn that negative 1 squared into a number. So we're squaring negative 1 means we're multiplying it by itself. So negative 1 times negative 1 would be positive because negative times negative, and 1 times 1 is just 1. So really that's just 1, and if we were to multiply it now by the negative 2 in front, negative 2 times 1 would still be negative 2. It doesn't change. Okay, so we have negative 2, and that took care of these numbers, basically. Now, we also have an a in front. What's that exponent on that a? That's a 1, right? So we're going to multiply these two a's together, a to the 1, a to the 4, because everything's all next to each other, so it means multiply. So a to the 1 times a to the 4, when you're multiplying powers, you add the exponents, so that becomes a to the 1 plus 4, which is 5. And then c to the 6, there's no other powers with a base of c on top, so we'll just write it down again. Okay, denominator, nothing happening there. We'll just write it down again. And now we're going to actually divide. So negative 2 doesn't have to divide with anything, so we'll just write negative 2 on top again. Actually, we may not need a top or a bottom here, because we won't have anything left on top or on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to divide our powers that have the same base. So a to the 5 divided by a to the 12, you subtract the exponents when you divide powers. So 5 minus 12 would be negative 7. And then c to the 6 divided by c to the 3, subtract those exponents. 6 minus 3 would be 3. Okay, now that's looking pretty good, but if the question wants you to write it without negative exponents, then we need to do something with that a to the negative 7. And if we kind of pretend this is all over top of 1, because anything can be written over top of 1, what we do is keep the negative 2, keep the c to the 3, because those don't have negative exponents, and then move that a to the 7 to the bottom, making that exponent positive now. And then that would be your final answer. There we go. Hope that helped.